Back in high school, one of my absolute favorite classes ever was PE. I always got to run around, I got to be really competitive, and I got good scores and good grades because I loved playing sports and I loved being active. It was one of the only classes that I was like, you can't fail this unless you're a lazy asshole. One of my favorite games to play was Kickball. I always had a blast. The only problem was, whenever we played Kickball, I never really gave it my all. See, I never did because every time I'd kick the ball as hard as I possibly could, it would always bounce off the side of this tiny-ass gym and someone would catch it, so I'd instantly get out. So instead of kicking it as hard as I could, I would just kind of bunt it so it would scrape across the ground and I could get to my base. Well, we've been playing kickball for about 20 minutes, I was up to bat, and I realized that we don't have much longer in this class at all, and I never really got to give it my all. So this time, I'm going to kick this ball as hard as I possibly can. The ball flies towards me, I run in and I kick the thing as hard as I possibly can, and it flies up into the ceiling, hits this panel, and the ball's bouncing all over the room. I'm running around, and I actually got a home run. I made it base to base, 1, 2, 3, 4, made it all the way back, and all these kids are screaming at me. I thought they were cheering, so I actually sat there and I'm waving and I take a bow, and as soon as I bow and came right back up, a panel from the ceiling falls right in front of my nose, actually grazes my nose, and slams on the ground. Now, these panels that were in the gym were actually quite hefty. These things were made of like 1.5 inch thick material. And yeah, I mean, it broke. It probably would have knocked me out had it hit me. Apparently, when I kicked this ball, I knocked it straight up in the air and I knocked that panel loose. When I'd run all the way around and went back to fourth base, that panel was starting to drop, and the kids next in line saw that and they were trying to warn me. But there was so much commotion, I thought everyone was just happy that I'd done that. I sit back up looking at this thing that crashed right in front of me and my life had flashed before my eyes, and I'm like, oh my god. And the kids in line are like, yeah, Barry, you freaking idiot, we were trying to warn you. Kickball is a very competitive sport. It's simple, but it takes a lot of coordination. Not to toot my own horn or anything, but my skill was unmatched. I mean, I basically hit the ceiling.